Would you please don't do other things while you're talking to me?
Yes, because you can tell my train of thought.
Yes. Don't type when you're talking to me, Akruti. It's not nice. I'm going to turn off the thing if you talk to me. So how many papers remain? How many papers do you have to write? 4?
I have one paper for my Chinese art history class. I have one paper for my 18th century. I have my expose for my 18th century, and then I have that paper I need to write for Kathy to bump my B+ up to an A.
Cool. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. And LSAT preparation?
I told you not to ask about that.
Okay. I chose to come here because I didn't want to be a typical Indian wife. I needed more freedom. I needed to do what I wanted to do in my life. If I would be living in India, I would be restricted, not restricted by somebody, but that's all the women do, cook, clean, raise their children. And I don't want to do only that. I can do much more than that. I was born in India, a town named Surat. It is part of Gujarat, which is all the way on the left side in India. Growing up was different from here. When I was growing up, I could go out on the street and play. Over here, my kids couldn't go out and play on the street. And the neighbors they're more available to you than over here because everybody works over here. So if my mom had to go somewhere and she would tell one of the neighbors or my aunt next door to watch us, they would watch us. We were 5 brothers and sisters, and we shared one room, one bedroom. So we had bed at night. Everybody would put the beds, and beds were everywhere. Like whole floor was covered. So it was fun, to share one room, which is lacking in this country. My both children have their own rooms, so they never shared the room. I mean, they did in the beginning, but not anymore. So we did share until we got married. My husband is my far aunt's brother. And they're always looking out for girls who can do all the things. The more the girls can do, the better the girls are, for their brothers or whoever they're looking for. In India, there are jobs assigned. Father looks for the family, the wealth. If his daughter is going to be happy in that family, if she's going to have enough money. Mother looks she hears the gossips about the boy. She talks to the ladies about how that boy is, what his character is. If you have older siblings or younger siblings, they would look at that boy before you and come and tell you how he looks, if they approve or not. In my case, I was allowed to talk to him, which had just started during my time, because before you weren't even allowed to talk to the boy. You would just have to look at him and say yes or no. And my husband and I talked, and he asked me some questions, and I asked him some questions. And then I couldn't find anything wrong with him, so I said yes.
Sincerely, it was an arranged marriage. It's not that I knew Yatna very well, but then my sister spoke very highly of her, and obviously I would trust my sister. And I took her word for it, and I think she was right.
Thank you. My mom, actually, when I got married, she fainted, and I couldn't look back. People over there who were elderly people, don't look back, you can't look back. So I guess it's
literally
a ritual, like
back,
you can't look back. Yeah.
And she had fainted.
If you look back, you're gonna come back.
Right.
I had come out of the house and I was going down the steps. There are 4 steps. And then I heard somebody, my cousin, like, oh, she fainted, and then I was turning around and they wouldn't let me. So that was a sad part, and I cried time when in the car when we were going to my in-laws, my husband was looking at me. He didn't know, poor thing, what to say. So as soon as we reached there, he's like, call your home right now. Call your home. All right, let's go. You're all ready for math?
Yeah, I studied last night.
That's good. So did you make a list of the colleges you wanted to see this summer?
Yeah, I started
Okay,
on
so
it.
we have to go over it. Are you going to work this summer?
I think I should, yeah, I think I should.
No, it's not you should. You feel like working. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll
Then
want
you
more.
go start applying now.
All right.
When we came first, after I had my daughter, we used to go to India every other year. We used to give them both cultures. That every time we made a trip, they learned that culture and this culture. But the trips were too expensive.
Belonging to two different cultures, it improves my life because I get to see the contrast of the two cultures, and I get to see what's better for me, and what I can take from each culture that will help improve who I am. Being in two cultures also has its complications because as even though like there are some things I can take to improve my life, there are also things that conflict, like the eating meat. I mean, I haven't eaten meat, but when I was younger, I was tempted. Also, kind of work ethic because with Indians, it's a lot stricter, but in American culture, they're a little more eased, laid back. So I'm somewhere in the middle of those two. I can talk to them online, video chat, and so it's like meeting, but it's not almost the same.
Yeah.
Because I miss my mother's home cooked food, and those are the things that I miss the most.
Sometimes I have a laptop, so I'll carry my laptop around the house and be like, look at my dog.
Yeah, that's what I do. And my parents want to see my son, and my son is still sleeping. I go quietly. He's sleeping. At this point, I consider myself more American than Indian. One, because I live here, I follow a lot more American customs than Indian customs. And one big thing is that I forgot how to speak my the native language of India.
And he finally had a junior prom, and he took one of the girls from this school, Anisha.
Anisha, yeah.
Anisha Kumar, and I'll show you that picture. It's cute. But I gave her a camera, and he didn't let her take any pictures over there.
When I go back to India, it's usually an interval of about 5 to 6 years. Last time I went, I was 11 or 12. And when I went there, culturally, I felt a little different, but family-wise, I felt welcome because I have a lot of family in India.
I remember when my daughter was in a school and she was getting bullied, and after 9/11, somebody says like Arab or something like that.
Yeah,
Afghan. And it was not even called for because we are not Afghan, we are peace living community. If you see Hindu community is a peace living community. And she came and she said, Daddy, this is what is happening. And it was difficult for us to make her understand that this thing goes on. And, you have to try to talk to the person that, you are a different person. You are not the one that person is thinking who you are.
She was only in middle school, and it was hard for me to make her understand. She said, I'm American. Why am I called these things? So it was hard for me to explain. I didn't know how to explain to her exactly. I did my best, possibly, because I just didn't know how to do it. We never confronted this kind of things in India when we were kids.
I'm glad here in a sense that I have a good wife, I have a good kids, I have a good life. But then, comparatively, if you see it, yes, I would have had probably better life living in India, but I don't regret that.
He's only stayed for me, and I only decided that for my kids' future. And that's what I say. Every time we make some decision, is based upon we put our kids first. And that's how the decisions are made by us. We never put ourselves first.
But sometimes I ask my kids to recognize the sacrifice that mom is making for them or dad is making for them. Just to give you an idea, I wasn't in India when my father passed away. I wasn't in India when my mother passed away. So those two big moments I missed in my life. I wish I was there.
The most difficult memory of going home is when I'm ready to come back here. When I see my father and mother, I think that this might be the last time I'm gonna see them. Yes. So you're choosing one A and plus B, right?
Right.
And then you have to find A and B, right? And then you rewrite it with A and B on it.
Right.
at
Yeah.
The top.
And then you integrate it.
Whenever they had difficulty in school, they would come to me, and whenever I was teaching them math, if I use a different word, say from India, and I pronounce a different way because I had a hard accent, Indian accent, they would correct me. So that way, I learned how to speak correct English, and I think it has helped me a lot, and I improved a lot. I actually basically learned from them. So it was good exchange, math and English.
She would help other kids who needed help with the math. She would call them here, teach them. A guy across from the street, he had math difficulties, and they all improved their grades.
I did win a Golden Apple Award because I volunteered for 2 years, almost 2 years, in Washington School, elementary school. I helped out a kindergarten teacher every day, and whoever needed me. Sometimes in pre-K, most of the time in office. So I was always moving around. During my second year, one day Mr. Carafa came to me and said, "You are receiving Golden Apple Award." And I'm like, "No, that's for teachers. I'm not a teacher. I'm just helping." He said, "No, you deserve it more."
Well, if we could clone her, I think that would really be a wonderful thing because her volunteer work, she gave with her heart. By her coming in and supporting us at Washington School, we were able to achieve things that we would not have been able to do. Her go-to-itiveness, her ability to do something and help out and be pleasant about it and be on time and be here.
So when my son went to middle school, I went there and said, "I want to run for president." And they said, "Incoming parents do not have a chance to run for president." So I asked for the bylaws. And I got a copy of the bylaws from PTA president. And I read there was nothing in the bylaws that said that sixth grade parents are not allowed to run for the position. So I argued with her. And apparently I found out later that they had a big meeting in the Board of Education with all the principals. And they discussed. And they finally decided that, okay, let her run. She's not going to win. But I had some parents who knew me from Washington School came with me and voted for me because they were also part of a new PTA and they were allowed to vote. So they voted for me and I won.
Akrudi and Hirsch were wonderful students. They brought around different ideas and different problems and different solutions to problems. I remember Akrudi writing to the president about women's rights when she was here and getting a response back. And it was very interesting because not only did it help her on her quest, but it also lit up light bulbs in everybody else's head. Well, yeah, why is that? Why is she questioning that? And why isn't that the way it is?
In India, women stay home, only husbands work. But there is a discrimination in this society also that I found towards the women, discriminating in pay gap. If you see, there are not many women at the higher positions in government. I used to work in the bank. Higher administrative jobs were mostly men. There was probably 1 to 10 or maybe 15, 1 to 15 ratio, which is a big gap. And the salary is definitely a gap. And since I've been living here last 20 years, I haven't seen much change. I have become more independent, yes, because I am deciding my own work, what I want to do on my own. It's not decided for me. I started appreciating other humans more. Over there, when I had servants, I probably did not appreciate as much. But when I came here, I had to do those things on my own. Now I started appreciating other human beings more. And that was the part that was missing in India. When I was getting married, I had to quit my studies, because my sister-in-laws brainwashed me. I shouldn't say that, but they were like, "Oh, you're the only one who can help me. She doesn't work good. She doesn't work good," and they were kind of telling me all this. And then my younger sister-in-law came to me one day and she says, they were saying that you're going to just go to college every morning and not do anything over here. So that made me feel ashamed. And because I was too much into culture, I was raised in that culture, so I had to think, and then I quit my study. My husband and my father-in-law told me not to do that. They begged me not to quit my study, but I did.
Wow.
Otherwise, I would have been
The
architect.
pressure, peer pressure.
So I was in architecture. I was doing architecture.
Wow.
But I quit after 2 years. And then I always wanted to finish it. So my kids encouraged me over here, saying, since they were all, on their own, doing their homework and everything. So my kids said, "Mom, why don't you start the school again?" And then I went to SAT classes, and then I took GED classes. So this is the GED certificate. I was so happy because I was one of the person who got over 3,000.
Wow.
We were 3 people.
Wow.
So I had very high score. So I'm, always like looking at it. Yes, it says over 3,000 or higher.
I'm glad that Yatna's going after her dream. I think that's what's important because she pushed her children, and it's so nice to know that no matter what age you are, and I'm not saying she's old because I would never do that, because learning is an experience until you close your eyes. I'm very excited that this is happening to her right now because for all the work that she put out at the schools and with her children, she deserves to fulfill what she wants to do in her life. So hats off to Yatna for succeeding and not closing the door on herself because of her duties as a parent.
One thing I love about Columbia, that there was no resistance from any other students, whether they were young or old. I am probably one of the oldest in those classes, and I'm free to take classes in any colleges, and that's what things that I love about Columbia. You can sit down with young children, 18 years old, my sons and my daughter's age, and I feel young. It makes me young. It makes me forget my age.
The fact that my mom goes to school at Columbia, I'm very proud of her for that. There are times I see her, she's really like stressed because she has so much homework and she has to cook, but eventually she overcomes all that and she pulls through. She gets her good grades.
My husband and my children are very supportive. They, on top of managing their own food, sometimes my husband, I hear him talking to my son when he plays game. Shh, lower the volume because your mother's studying in the other room. So they make sure they don't make a lot of noise because when I'm concentrating on something, when there is too much noise, I cannot concentrate. Maybe it's because of my age, but they make sure that I have my peaceful study time. And sometimes when I'm studying late at night, my husband would ask me, "Do you want anything from Taco Bell or something?" so when he's going, like something to munch, or when he's making tea, he would say, "Do you want a cup of tea also? I'm making tea for myself." So he's like provides me, and that's different. How he has changed from a typical Indian husband to, what he used to be. I used to serve him. Now he serves me, and that's what's different about coming to America. These are the good things that we have adopted, and I'm happy.